All right, in the last election, who'd you vote for? You know, it's funny how many folks that voted for Trump won't say, like, I voted MAGA. Like, they're all just very open about it to other Trump supporters. Yeah, of course I voted for Trump. But then how many Democrats or folks that you could bet the farm didn't vote for Trump say, well, that's a private matter. I don't have to tell you who I voted for, you know, something like that. That's pretty much the same thing as just putting the coexist sticker on your Prius anyway. So we talked a bit about this yesterday, but I want to dig further into this whole voting thing. Look, if you voted Democrat, what did you vote for? Let's unpack this issue by issue. For a few hours before the show, in preparation for this, I scoured Al Gore's, there I am, scouring Al Gore's internet to find the issues that mattered most to the people with the blue hair teaching at our college universities and whatever else liberals do. I had a bit of a revelation, though. Most of the activists, liberals out there, maybe 25% of the voting body for the Democratic Party, they don't have any principles really at all. They'll literally just oppose anything conservatives are for. I mean, take this Afghanistan debacle, for instance. When Trump said he was pulling us out of there, liberals screamed and warned, oh, we're doomed, a future of terrorist attacks, America, and it was foolish and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, this is the same party that thought Trump was just going to get us into more endless wars who pulled us out. So they freak out about that. I mean, look at these headlines. Pulling troops from Afghanistan has undermined Afghan confidence. This is how, you know, the end of the war in Afghanistan. Or how about this one? Trump makes bad situation worse in Afghanistan. The liberals made sure to take these talking points on every news appearance, that this was really the most horrible, worst, bad thing ever.
Withdrawing troops is a fateful decision, and there are consequences that may be paid for that.
What this says to the world about American democracy, it obviously bleeds away confidence in our system, in our future, raises big questions there. The Afghanistan withdrawal, I think, is unwarranted.
He's undermining everything from trying to push forward foreign policy on a very abrupt basis, withdrawing troops from the Middle East without a lot of forethought.
Well, look, I'll admit when I was a bit skeptical myself, and I'm on record doing this, I'm not like two-faced about this, but Trump made it clear that he was going to ensure benchmarks to ensure a proper turnover. So I was on board, and so were a lot of other veterans once they heard the plan. But here's where folks like you and me at home watching this, we differ from the libs. I mean, even when Biden continued that plan, most of us were just like, okay, this seems fine, like we'll go with it. But where we started to criticize him was when he apparently just blew it all off. I mean, all of it, not some of it, but all the benchmarks. They were all blown off for this proper withdrawal that Trump had orchestrated. Now, you and I have a problem with how it was done, not the fact that it was done. I mean, here's another story that a lot of media seem to be turning a blind eye to. Reuters reviewed part of a transcript from the last call between the president of Afghanistan, President Ghani, at the end of July. Okay? Ghani he's since fled the country and is now living in exile with his family, so that worked out great. When they spoke in July, though, as the Taliban was basically bum-rushing major cities across Afghanistan, Joe Biden said, quote, I need not tell you the perception that things aren't going well in terms of the fight against the Taliban, and there's a need, whether it is true or not, there's a need to project a different picture. Now, I know you guys have all heard Joe Biden talk, but actually reading what he's saying through a teleprompter on actual words is kind of difficult to string along since he can barely put together a coherent sentence in person. But unless I'm mistaken, that's our president telling the president of Afghanistan to lie to the world. Did I read that wrong, or is that just me? I mean, this is far different. I mean, this is a totally different story than Biden's been delivering in his speeches. The totally opposite of everything he had said.
The idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that. The consensus was that it was highly unlikely that in 11 days they'd collapse and fall and the leader of Afghanistan would flee the country.
Well, big shocker that somebody in D.C. lied to you guys. I mean, where's the same media that called for every audio file on Trump, every transcript of every phone call? Why aren't they calling for the audio for this as well? I mean, for liberals, it's like this blind party allegiance. Even when to the gates of hell, the libs are going to defend Biden. And the talking point went one of two ways. One, it was Trump's deadline and Biden was just following it. Or two, we made the decision to end this war. But Biden actually said both yesterday.
In April, I made a decision to end this war. As part of that decision, we set the date of August 31st for American troops to withdraw. Let me be clear. Leaving August the 31st is not due to an arbitrary deadline. It was designed to save American lives. My predecessor, the former president, signed an agreement with the Taliban to remove U.S. troops by May the 1st.
That's the same speech. Those are not different days. Same guy, same speech, like less than 90 seconds apart. This is the blind allegiance that I'm talking about. It extends to even the national security advisor who's pretending that this takeover by the Taliban in Afghanistan is anything but a disaster.
Just on those lines, what is the Taliban? Are they now our frenemy? Are they our adversary? Are they our enemy? What are they?
Well, it's hard to put a label on it, in part because we have yet to see what they are going to be now that they are in control, physical control of Afghanistan.
Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor for the White House, not for like pre-K through 12th grade. This is the depth of knowledge he possesses? Well, since the people with all the information have no clue, let me cue you in on something. They're a murderous terrorist group that we gave $80 billion worth of weapons to in a hotbed of terror. Any questions, class? I mean, my Lord, these are the people running the country. They have access to all this information from every intelligence agency, not just ours in the country, but from our allies as well. I feel like this guy would have more information if he just listened to a podcast on it. I mean, it's no wonder that we lost the war in Afghanistan if these are the people in charge. And the party of all these intellectuals, they look at us like we're the dumb ones calling people out on this.
That this is, you know, an administration defined by ignorance of the world. And so that's partly him playing to their base and playing to their audience, you know, the credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one and y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading, you know, your geography, knowing other countries, sipping your latte.
Well, these are the folks telling that you and I that we're stupid. They're so principled from their ivory towers. The guy on the right, keep this graphic up here. The guy on the right, Rick Wilson, who fancies himself a GOP strategist, he's never worked on a winning campaign, to my knowledge. He's not exactly a beacon of morality and standards. So this is the guy who supported the alleged pedophile friend over at the Lincoln Project, okay? But more notably, he's known for this, trying to cancel Republicans for what he deemed as racist. That was until these photos of his Confederate flag cooler surfaced. Now, back to CNN. The guy on the left, we sit over there, and I mean far left, no pun intended. This is Mr. Ali. Now, this guy is a real gem. Again, I'm sorry I'm using something that's like a year old at this point to make this point, but it's so perfect that I couldn't resist. This guy spent the better part of the Trump presidency, 4 years of it, and demeaning Trump voters, lost, irredeemable, uneducated, hopeless, the list goes on. This guy was just downright evil. Now, after the election, he wrote this other column. He couldn't figure out why his attempts to reach out to folks like us, you and I, were failing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, you spent 4 years insulting me in your weekly columns, and now you want to have a conversation? Hard pass, buddy. But, I'd have him on here. I would actually have the guy on here. If you guys wanted to, let Newsmax know. Maybe we'll have him on. And, what could go wrong? Maybe he'll learn something. You could play this again and again and again with Democrats, though. Remember vaccines?
I think it's going to be a very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot? You can be the first one to say, sign me up. They now say it's okay.
If the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
I love the fact these people all thought this was Donald Trump in the basement of the White House with test tubes making this. Donald Trump didn't make this. Qualified doctors made this. Now, these are the same folks, though, that want to mandate it. And I just want to tell them, hello, this was created under Trump's initiative. It's the same vaccine. Biden had nothing to do with the creation of this. Now, if you say the exact same things they said 8 months ago, you're this tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist, and they think we're the dumb ones. They're the people who can't even remember what they said 8 months ago. I mean, seriously, again, case study for term limits. These people are so detached from reality. I mean, Kamala honestly didn't even think people in middle America knew how to use a copier. And she said we can't go to Kinko's.
In some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. Of course, people have to prove who they are.
Seriously? Never mind the fact that Kinko's as a chain closed like over 10 years ago. But they are, I mean, they're the detached ones from reality. The internet went nuts over this. It was hours of entertainment. One person even said, wait till she finds, I mean, look at this guy. He said, actual footage of us leaving to find a thing called Kinko's many moons ago in rural America. I mean, one guy even said, wait till she finds out that we have computers in our tractors. I mean, this was internet gold. But this is how liberals view us. They know all, except that Kinko's is no more, obviously. And we're just here to serve them. Now, everybody's here seen Braveheart, William Wallace, one of the greatest movies of all time, right here. He said, there's a difference between us. You think the people of this country exist to provide you with position. I think your position exists to provide those people with freedom. Dead on. Gold medal for that guy. That is the difference between Democrats and Republicans nowadays, unfortunately. So I'll circle back to my original point. If you're a Democrat, what are you voting for? Don't tell me what you're voting against. What are you voting for? You know, normal things they list. Oh, higher wages. Cool. Tell me what Democrat in the last 50 years ever lifted the economy to raise wages for people? Oh, that's right. It was Republicans. Trump did that actually quite well. Affordable health care. Also cool. Trump was the one that lowered prescription drug costs. Obama was the dude who made it more expensive for everyone. Well, a greener future, said John Kerry from his private jet. This is what I mean, folks. The intentions Democrats have sold us for years aren't actually any priority for them whatsoever. They just think we're stupid. But the joke's on them. So like I said last night, have these arguments, sometimes with your family. It's always the place and time because Biden is just a symptom of the problem. Those dumb enough to keep electing these people, that's the real issue.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.